So each level of pelvis is going to open in a different way depending on what labor position we choose. So top is going to open more with external rotation of the femurs. Mid pelvis is going to open more with asymmetrical movements. Outlet opens more with internal rotation of the femurs. So let's focus on what movements can specifically open this lower mid pelvis, which is going to open more with internal rotation of the femur towards one side with some adduction in addition to a posterior tilt of this half of the pelvis. So you can see when we shift that hip crease back, it's going to create more space here as the tailbone shifts in the opposite direction. So what movements are going to achieve that? Typically, when we shift our weight into one leg, this is what happens. So if I'm shifting my weight into my left leg, my pelvis is going to shift like this, and I'm going to be creating more space in that lower mid pelvis on this side. So let's take a look at two movements that we tend to find that folks do intuitively during labor that's creating this space. So the first movement that I'll typically see when someone's baby is getting really low and we're trying to create more space in that lower mid pelvis is they start to shift their weight into one leg. So one way they may do that is they may come up onto the tippy toes, so almost like doing a staggered stance type movement, where they're going to take weight away from being in this leg and shift it towards this side. So they may kind of go through their contraction, shifting like this in their standing tippy toe position, where we're shifting weight into this leg. Another position that folks may find may be a half kneeling position. So they may hang on to something and then think drive the hip crease back as they kind of really lean into this hip to open up that posterior outlet on that side. So what it looks like from the other side. So they're going to think hold on to something as they drive the hip crease back to open more here in this posterior outlet of the leg that's forward. So I'm thinking like rotate my belly towards my thigh as one option to open the lower mid pelvis. Another movement that they might find is in all fours positions. So in the all fours position, similar to the standing, they may shift their weight intuitively towards one leg repeatedly. So instead of rocking all the way side to side, they may really favor like rocking one way. So you can see here that this leg is more internally rotated, more of a closed hip position, while this one's more externally rotated, an open hip position. So they may just kind of keep rocking their hip that way when we're trying to emphasize opening of the lower mid pelvis. So during labor, shifting weight into one leg is going to open the lower mid pelvis more, and that's going to find more of that internal rotation, that adduction, and that posterior tilt on that side to open the lower half of the pelvis asymmetrically.